Hello and welcome to this special show from Bengaluru. This really could be called India's Me Too moment. Women, it is largely women still, from around the country have been coming out and talking about the sexual harassment, the sexual violence that they have faced in their workspace as part of their profession. Now, these are people they knew, these are men they knew, and in many cases it's people all of us knew. We've heard names, very famous names, being named by the women who are talking about what they have undergone several years ago. So is this a moment or is it a movement? Will it really change things going ahead? What is driving it? What is the momentum behind this? And what is the take of young urban India to what is happening around the country? We're joining you from a college here in Bengaluru, the Indian Institute of Journalism and New Media. And students here have really kind of turned out in good numbers because everybody has a view on this. It's something which really touches everybody. To start with, we'll just get a few quick takes from some of the students about how they see this entire movement. You've been reading this, you've been talking about this. How do you respond to all of the stuff that you're seeing?
There have been many cases coming on social media, but the next thing which I look forward is what is beyond social media.
Okay.
This is something that should not die only on social media. What's next?
Absolutely, because you're really a generation which has grown up with social media. People are talking about a time when they didn't have access to this widespread information. It should not just be a WhatsApp issue. It should not just be something like that, nothing on Twitter, and then it's all over. How do you feel when you read about this going on, this growing Me Too movement? What are your thoughts?
I think it is a great movement. Many women have come out with different kind of issues. Let it be, it was before 10 years, but they have come out.
Yes.
And I think this is an open opportunity for all the women to come out and fight against the sexual harassment in the workplace, at the workplace.
A great movement. You generally think it's a great movement. What are your thoughts?
Well, I say that, I'm saying that women are coming out now. What matters more here is that they keep coming out. There are n number of cases which have gone unreported for the past many years, and people have been suppressing these kind of feelings. It's not only women, it's men as well, and it's not only urban women who are affected by this. There are women in the rural areas. There are, like we saw the rape case in Bihar shelters. So these are also Me Too moments. They don't get highlighted on social media because the women, the victims, are not enabled to come onto the social media. But we as media professionals, we as media students, we should try and empower these women, go to these women, talk to them, and get their stories to the front, and give them the proper platform where they can come and talk about these things. Now that is what I would say is the next step forward, because
spreading it.
Exactly,
it's a movement which should spread, because as you were saying, it's taken a huge amount of courage for the women to come out. But these are women with a voice, who are articulate and who have access to communication.
And they have got a platform which is really democratic, right? Everybody can come onto that platform and talk about what they have gone through, right? And if we get these women's stories on the same platform, I'm sure it will gain traction, and I'm sure it will turn into a huge movement where men will support, men like us who have gone through education, who have lived in a society which is civilized and structured. We will support them. Right now, like we sitting here, we are talking about these things, and it is, voicing their concerns as well, right?
Absolutely. Now, your thoughts? Do you think it's a good thing? Are you shocked? Are you surprised?
I'm not actually shocked with what is happening, because somewhere in our minds we already knew that this kind of things are happening in workplace, let that be media, let that be any sector. But what is important is the women who are raising the voices are women who are here. But is it reaching the ground level? Because there are still many women, many sexual assault victims who are not able to say, who do not have a platform to speak. These are the people who are already at prominent places. So is it reaching the ground level? And if it is not, then when will it?
Yes, as he was saying, is it really kind of
is it really
reaching the people
where it should reach? So is it really reaching there? If it's not, then what else could we do? What should we do to make it reach there?
So generally, so far the views have been that this is a good thing that is happening. It is a good thing. It should be even wider. Do you see this as a movement? Is it just a moment, or do you think it is a movement that has begun? Are we going to see changes here?
Before answering, I want to ask what happened after the Me Too movement that happened in America, in US. Did that change a lot? No, because most of us are not much aware about these things. If you ask, we are media people, we are every day reading the newspapers, we are every day going through social media. So that is one point that we are getting.
There was no change.
not much can change until the mentality, the patriarchal mentality of the society doesn't change. And some way or the other, as much as I feel that there are lots of people in our society, even our mothers, like some of our mothers who are housewives and all, they have this mentality of imbibing the patriarchy into them and then sending it to their children, like to me as well. I'm giving you an example. My mother will send that patriarchal mindset to me, that okay, be quiet if your father is there, be a bit shy if your brother is there, or etc., etc. So till that thing, that the patriarchy doesn't change, the patriarchal mindset doesn't change, and we women stop imbibing that patriarchy in us and say that no, this is not this is not what we are going to follow. Till that is going to happen, things are not going to change.
Do you think it's beyond a cliche that sometimes women don't support women? Do you feel that is sometimes true?
First of all, I think whenever such a case is bring out in the media, the first sense or the first basis for a media to cover a news is to make sure that they verify it. Second, if I have to add to her comment, change is the only constant. So if our parents or if our mothers who have been, or our ancestors, when they say that you have to be a bit shy, they make sure that their children get educated, and then their children, somewhat sort of educate their own parents and see how the world is changing. So I do not absolutely agree that we have to be shy, and it's just accusations, but I think social media is a platform. It started with a movement. If the government and the media is noticing it, it will be noticed all the more further, and it will be taken forward.
Do you believe the women? Was your first instinct to believe her, or to think, I don't know?
In the first instance, if I feel something and if somebody is talking to me about it, of course, being a woman, very personally or emotionally, I would feel very sympathetic towards a person.
You do empathize,
of course.
yes.
But I'll make sure if I'm a professional media journalist, if I'm a journalist, I have to make sure that I verify it on the first go.
What about you? When you hear these things, is your first instinct, I believe her? Or is your first instinct, she's taken so much time, it may not be true, it's publicity? What is your first...
Right. I see that there are various angles to this. The first one being that it's really good that such a movement is bolstering now, that more and more voices are being heard, no matter how long the incident may have occurred. With that, keeping that in mind, I think with regard to the American issue, there's a lot of talk about believe all women. I think we should listen to all women, and then the law should take its course. There's a law in place, this procedure established. We must take into account what happened, the facts, and also whether evidence corroborates with her story. And then, yes, I certainly believe that all voices, all women, regardless of whether men, women, whatever, their voices must be heard, but believed only when verified.
So listen to them, give them a space to speak, but verify before going out. And that I see a lot of nods there. But of course, it must be hugely difficult for a woman to come out and speak about this. Have any of you, I'm pretty sure that all the women here, all the young women here have undergone some sort of sexual, every single one, right? Have any of you actually taken it forward with a complaint? Have any of you, yes?
So prior coming to this college, I was working for an MNC, I won't name it. Okay, so my manager, he used to say some sexist comments, not just to me, but to the entire team that he was handling. So in that scenario, what happened is that I was the one who took the initiative, went to the senior operation manager. I told her that this is the point that I'm facing. I spoke to some of the other co-managers of my manager. He helped me, they helped me out actually. They said that go to the senior ops. Then from senior ops, I went to the HR, and that manager, even if he was not removed from the company, he was given a warning, and it was a proper written warning that he was given, and the action was taken care of. So as much as my experience says that, in MNCs, you have a very proper mentioned HR rules, and that is how you feel safe, because my manager...
You will feel safe then. It's like the Vishaka guidelines are followed and everything is followed in a corporate. Then it will be safer. It will be safer. Like you're about to get into the workforce. You're about to join soon. So, do you feel it is safe? Are all these stories making you more anxious? Is it like something more to worry about now when you get your first job?
I would want to share a personal experience. It is not just about workplace, but even like when I was in school, a school senior, I was sexually harassed by a school senior, and then I used, and it happened on WhatsApp. So I used Facebook as a platform, and it took a lot of, I had to get a lot of courage to actually go out and post those screenshots and everything on Facebook, and I actually got a lot of support from people, and at the end the guy and even his family members, they were forced to come to me and apologize. So I think
must have cost you a lot. It must have cost you a lot coming forward.
Yes, so I think it takes a lot of courage for women to come out and accuse someone for doing that. So I think this movement is actually, it shows that how women are actually now, they are getting more courage to even speak up against known faces.
So in the work spot, in case this kind of thing happened to you, you would also protest, you would also say something about this. Would you be able to, if you felt in a new job, you're brand new in a job, there's something creepy going on, would you actually complain, or would you feel, I'm brand new at this job, I can't complain to anyone, let me just stay quiet?
Ma'am, with the numbers that have increased from the number of cases which we have seen these days, obviously people will be more aware about it because they can relate themselves to this to the events that are happening. For example, if she can talk about it, or if she's putting her new issue or her problem out and telling the people that this is what has happened to me, obviously the other person will feel like if she can do it, I can do it too. So even if regarding workplaces or anything, women are getting empowered, people are getting empowered, they're getting more freedom to talk. For example, the Supreme Court is ruling towards the people more, because if you see the rulings regarding what the ex Supreme Court judge, Deepak Mishra, or the current one, is doing towards the people, it is giving a lot of positivity.
So you feel there will be some backing from the judiciary as well?
Yes.
And safety in numbers. If more people are doing it, it's not an odd thing then for a woman to complain. That may also make a huge difference as well. A feeling of safety then, a feeling of safety.
Yes.
Another thing, like you're all young people here, I doubt if any of you are married. Anyone married? Now, there is a whole question of the dynamic between the sexes. You're all young, you talk to each other. Does this kind of thing affect in any way the way you speak to each other, or are you thinking, does it change the way you interact?
Yeah, actually it is changing. Because now women are not afraid of saying, they're angry, right? And they're coming up. They're coming up with their points, they're coming up in the social media, right? This is my
Anger. This momentum, this movement, there's been so much shame involved for women to talk about this, because there's so much victim blaming. There's so many questions of, what were you wearing? What were you doing at this time? What vibe were you giving out? Did you ask for it? Is it true? Why after so many years? There are so many questions. And there's a huge amount of female anger. You mentioned anger. Do you think it is anger that is driving this, a desire for justice? What do you feel is actually driving this at this time here?
I feel that what I wear or what I don't wear, it is none of any other people's concern. And I think it is changing now. Before, there were people who used to say all that, but I think now, for example, with the crowd I am here, they don't really care about what I am wearing or what I am not wearing.
It's freedom, and you do not want anyone to tell you what to do. Did you feel there's anger behind all this? Or what are your thoughts?
There was a time when women were judged. The way they used to dress up, the way they used to look, they are the reason for which the crime is happening. They were blamed.
They were blamed.
So this Me Too movement will help them, this kind of women, to come up, to raise their voice against the whatever harassment or any crime they have faced.
Absolutely.
Not only this, I remember we have seen one of the video in class which was showing a video about Haryana, where the women were judged, the way they are dressed, they wear tight jeans, just because of this, all this thing. They smile at the boys when the group of boys are sitting, they look and smile. Because of this, all these crimes are happening. There was a man who was saying that women are raped just because they are dressed up the way, they party all night, they smoke, they are inviting men.
How do you feel when you hear something like this? What is the emotion you feel at that time?
Like, it's not the first time I'm hearing. It's the generation from I'm hearing from.
You've heard it. Do you feel anger? Do you feel shock?
There is angriness. Why the men are not blamed? Men are being put here and women are put here. Like, it's women who is just inviting the men.
Are you angry? Does it come? How many of you are angry? How many of you really? Yeah, angry. Angry.
But I have got a perspective to add on this. I have got something to add on this. Basically, what we are discussing, okay, Me Too movement is a big movement and it should continue, no doubt about it. But what should really change is the power dynamics that we share with women, right? The men should cede ground.
Yes.
We have been holding ground for so long and for such a long period of time that it should change. We should cede ground to women. They are already up. They are already overtaking us, and they should probably go further still.
Absolutely.
And men should be ceding that ground, but people who are from the older generation, who are the power holders, that employer and subordinate relationship, that should
power
be discussed.
equation, yes, absolutely.
That power equation should be
People are saying it should not be me too, it should be you too.
Exactly.
You don't do this.
You should
stop
change.
this.
It's
you
not
stop
only
this.
women who should change.
Right?
There might be or there might not be something that women need to change, but men definitely need to change. This, me being a man, me being a guy, I'm saying this, that yes, you need to change. The way we talk, the way we see women, that should come from within men as well.
I hope this isn't an exception. What do you think? Let's hope there are more. Do you feel that women are angry? Do you get that sense of anger?
I wouldn't say that they're very angry, but you have seen recently how many women have actually come out against men. But a lot of them are saying that they have to come out, I want to speak to.
Sure.
Sort of a contradictory over there, because we've heard these allegations against Hollywood where the Louis C.K. was accused and then Aziz Ansari was accused.
Yes.
But the moment they were accused, everybody else started putting them down. They're like, we're never going to watch his show again. We're never going to make sure his TV episode is never going to...
It was decided they were guilty.
Without knowing your fact, without knowing the evidence, I don't want people to start judging guys and then putting them down, saying that, no, I'm never going to watch this guy again, I'm never going to do anything again, which is related to him because he's accused.
Innocent until proven guilty
Yes.
is still the rule, but you're saying that sometimes it's guilty until they can prove otherwise. The tendency perhaps, yes?
One example I'm giving, okay? You understand that how our courts work, right? A guy was, in my neighborhood, there was a guy who was alleged of rape, and it took him, I think 1 year or 2 years nearly, I don't remember the time gap because I was in Dehradun and I was just knowing that, okay, this guy is alleged of rape. He was actually innocent. He was not the one who was there. The point is, it was some random girl, some love relationship, etc., etc. I don't know the exact story, but then he was proven that he was innocent in the last. So, what about the 2 years or 1 year, whatever he has spent there in the jail?
He was guilty until proven innocent. I mean,
so that's what I'm saying, that things, and if these things happen, obviously even men's are going to be angry. So we should understand that we have to work hand in hand.
Caution, there should be some caution, and yes, it's not women versus the men. But it should be right-thinking people against the people who are doing this kind of stuff.
But there's a point when it comes to rape, okay, it can be proved. But when it comes to sexual assault, how will I prove it? It happened.
He says, she says.
But it happened 10 years ago. How do I prove it that sexual assault happened to me?
And especially with one person's word against another.
It's not just corporate, or it's not just media, or it's not just an office environment. It's everywhere. My brother, maybe my father, my neighbor's son. It's everywhere in the society. Even if the way they look, it is assault. It's not just touching. It's not just saying. It's not just putting women as an object. But it's just the way they look. That's it. The way they don't have. You spoke about. Conversation between men and women, but it's about the conversation that we have as professionals, and that is important, because if you're my boss, if you're my colleague, you need to maintain the decorum that the way you speak should be in a professional language. You cannot speak that way. That does not comes with men and women, or women or women, or men. No, it has to be a professional language that you speak.
Absolutely, it is not just rape. It is not just physical touching. It is the way people speak, the way people look. That is all assault, that is all harassment. I can feel the anger. There is a huge amount of anger which is fueling this movement. Women not secure everywhere. I mean, there's so many things people wish to share, wish to talk about this Me Too movement. Let us hope it is a movement. Let us hope it is not just a flash in the pan, that it doesn't go away, that this does mark a change in attitude, a change in the dynamics between the sexes, that sexual harassment will be called out, that people will be accountable. Let's just hope it does go on from this. Thank you for joining us here in Bengaluru today to discuss the Me Too movement, India saying Me Too as well.
It's not just corporate, or it's not just media, or it's not just an office environment, it's everywhere. My brother, maybe my father, my neighbor's son, it's everywhere in the society. Even if the way they look, it is assault. It's not just touching, it's not just saying, it's not just, putting women as an object, but it's just the way they look. That's it. The way they don't have, you spoke about conversation between men and women, but it's about the conversation that we have as professionals, and that is important, because if you're my boss, if you're my colleague, you need to maintain the decorum that the way you speak should be in a professional language.